In a fast-paced world, every day brings new challenges and new opportunities. At Strayer University, we know a thing or two about getting and staying ahead of change. For over 130 years, we've been providing students like you with innovative tools, customized support, and an education built to empower you, so you can find your way forward and always keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast. This is episode, well, you can either call it 25 or episode 1 of season 2. That's right. We're in season 2. Not that podcasts have seasons, but we decided 24 episodes is a whole season. So this week we begin season 2.
It's actually not. I mean, I've actually heard other podcasters do that.
Oh, so we're not original?
I'm not sure about the season thing, but I mean, I don't know. You said 20. This is either 25 or what? And I went, ooh, that was a Chicago song, 25 or 6 to 4. So that's a great tune. So yes, season 2, episode 1. I like the 24 thing because that was like that old show 24 where they just did an hour for 24 straight hours. So I'm okay with that. If we are the first, then we claim it, and we should get some kind of licensing fee or something like that from our, for fellow podcasters. I think it's a great idea. So how you doing? You got a new look at you with that new for those who can't see, and I know none of you can see but me. BJ Odom with his Warriors hat on, but it's blue and silver. And I looked at that and I thought it was Tampa Bay Lightning at first because it's the Lightning colors.
Yeah, it's the Warriors. I also got my Warrior. You can't really see it because I'm like sitting low in my chair.
No, you're scrunched down there. I can't see, but you got a blue Warrior shirt on.
I got my Warrior shirt on too. The Warriors hat goes with the blue
colors. Where did that come? Well, I guess they do have the blue highlights or something, but that hat doesn't look like a Warrior's hat at all. So it doesn't matter.
Let me see.
It does. Yeah, it's got the logo. It's got the Bridge logo on it on one side.
The NBA, I think.
You're cool. You're cool.
We just got done. Well, I figured, hey, we just got done with the All-Star game.
That's right.
And this is what's really weird. And they're talking about it, of course, this morning. They have been on my, my number one show for sports, Stephen A. Smith.
Love him.
But can you believe someone from the G League, which is kind of like the minor leagues of basketball, kind of like their farm camps, won the dunk contest?
I didn't, that was the night before, and I didn't see the whole thing, but I did see the one young kid who's played in like 2 NBA games, got up on somebody's back and made a dunk or something like that, and the crowd went wild. I saw that on YouTube. So a guy from the G League, you're right, is like the minor leagues, won the dunk contest.
Maybe this is the guy, because he has played in like 2 NBA games.
Because I can't imagine they'd let somebody from the G League participate who hadn't played in a game. So maybe he did. I don't know. So I'll look that up while we chat. I will look up. So that would be 2023 NBA dunk contest. Yep.
And what the gripe is with people, and I understand this too, a lot of the big stars do not participate in the dunk contest.
Right.
So here you have like a G leaguer winning the contest where the stars, I don't know if they're afraid they're going to hurt themselves.
Right.
Or what, but they really, like LeBron James, all these big stars, nobody really competes in the dunk contest. And the question was, well, why? Do they need to put some big prize on it? Or, don't they want to, let their fans see it? That was kind of like this morning's early topic that I listened to for the first maybe 15 minutes this morning. Then we had guests come pick up. Guess what they picked up? Boxes.
Picked up
boxes.
Boxes, awesome. What do you mean they picked up boxes? You mean you emptied out some boxes and somebody came and collected the empties?
Yes.
Awesome.
They're moving. They're also moving, and so they needed boxes.
Oh, I see. So good recycling. So just to circle, don't you just love that circle back thing? Just to circle back on the dunk contest, it was a young man by the name of Matt McClung, McClung. I never heard of him, and no, neither have you. But he did play 2 games with the Philadelphia 76ers, and he won the contest. He won the dunk contest. That was Saturday night. It says McClung has a 2-way contract with the Sixers, spent time with the team's G League affiliate, the Delaware Bluecoats. Never heard of them, of course. Secured the victory after a series of high-flying dunks. And the one that I thought that he was standing on the back of somebody, he wasn't.
He jumped over the guy.
He jumped over the guys. Yes, he jumped over 2 guys, one guy standing and then another guy on that guy's shoulders, and he jumped over both of them. Yes. So, and at 6'2", quite the accomplishment for Mac McClung. Congratulations, Mac. Where the heck did Mac go to school? I've never heard of him before and probably never will again, but that's okay.
I don't know. You might now.
I might.
He made a name for himself. But he was wearing a Phillies jersey, so that
yes, he has played 2 games with the 76ers. So that's the whole thing there. Mac McClung. But you're right. Why don't the big names participate in the? I mean, you would think like Giannis or somebody would just go out and tear it up. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe they're afraid they're going to get hurt. I don't know.
Maybe so. Or I don't. But yeah. But it's it's kind of like the home run derby in the baseball All-Star game. That's kind of cool to see. I mean, that's the game is nice, but the home run derby is
chicks dig the dunk contest is always cool. I think too.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of like I didn't really watch. Unfortunately, I usually do, but the 3-pointer was like almost an unknown guy that won that too. Of course, Curry. Who you'd think would definitely be in it.
No, wait a minute. Didn't Damian what's his name? Dame Lillard, didn't he win the 3-pointer? I don't remember. I don't know. I don't either. I don't remember.
The big controversy was, guy from the G League.
Yeah.
Wins the dunk contest.
Yeah.
Which so there you hardly go. Nobody knew.
Well, and I mean, the game is interesting and it's okay. I mean, there's no defense. The final score, by the way, last night, Team Giannis beat Team LeBron 184-175. So it was just a low-scoring defensive contest. Yeah. So anyway, there you go.
It's the All-Stars. What can you say?
It's the All-Stars. Yeah. Nobody wants to get hurt.
Nobody plays hard. They all go in for fun.
Yeah. Which is exactly why they changed the NFL. The NFL All-Star game, they just totally made it like a flag football thing because, nobody wants to get hurt. So, okay, fine, whatever. So good for you. Good. Jason Tatum had 55. That was the highest.
That was a record, yeah.
That was a record for All-Star games. Good for him. There you go. So anyway, all right, there you go. That's your NBA wrap up. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Now for a little NASCAR roundup.
Right.
Stenhouse Jr. Little Ricky Stenhouse Jr. won that. If you had some money on him, you could have won some money yesterday. That's for sure.
Okay.
He was one of those long shots, but it was well deserved.
All good.
Those restrictor plate races, I enjoy usually the beginning and like the last 5 laps. If you see the last 5 laps of a restrictor race,
restrictor plate,
you get to see all the fun.
My father always used to say that about pretty much any sporting event except baseball. He was old school. Of course, my father, he's old school because he's old. He liked baseball, but he always used to say that, you watch the last 5 minutes of a basketball game or the last 5 minutes.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
whatever. You've seen enough. You've seen everything you need to see. And I'm like, well, Dad, it's kind of like, so restrictor plate. So what is I think I understand that. They try and make the cars more evenly matched.
No. Well, here's the way I look at it. I don't know if that's the reason why. I know, they're all, toned down a little bit because they can't go so fast because it's a 2.5 mile track.
Right.
But they do a lot of bump drafting, which means you get behind the guy, you give him a tap, and that will kind of like a pinball machine shoot him forward.
Right.
And so it's kind of fun to watch, but it's just, they're weird races, and they do have quite a few accidents usually because they're so tightly bunched, going so fast, and they're doing the bumping. And so usually if there is an accident, it takes out 5, 6, 7 cars usually at a time.
Right.
But I mean, like I said, the last 5 laps are what really makes a restrictor race exciting.
And I was watching, and this was not the same race, of course. I don't think it was. I was watching the truck one the other night too.
Friday night, the truck.
Yeah.
The ARCA race on Saturday afternoon.
And that was
like race.
And that was just like a bad day in traffic because it was like they'd run 3 or 4 laps and then they're yellow, and then run 3 or 4 laps and then yellow. And then it's like, okay, I got it. Fine, great, whatever. So anyway, as you can tell, not a huge NASCAR fan. So, okay, I get it. But yeah, so I'm glad you enjoyed it.
What you really need to do, you need to really enjoy NASCAR like I do.
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand it because there is a lot of strategy. I mean, when do you pit? When do you change tires?
Right.
There's a lot of strategy that also goes into a race, which people think, oh, they just go around in circles. It's so much more than going around in circles. It's like, you gotta make sure you're gonna have enough gas by the end of the race. That's pretty important too.
It kind of is.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a very strategic sport that people just don't understand.
You're right. And I don't. I understand. And I mean, I understand that I don't understand because I've been with friends or at parties or whatever. And, you'll always, whatever sport you're a fan of doesn't mean that anybody else is. So, I've been at parties watching a football game or something. And of course, there's going to be somebody in the crowd that's like, why do they do that? And you're like, what? You don't understand. Oh, never mind. Okay. You're not a football fan. Okay. So I understand. I don't know what I don't know. I get that. That's fine. So yeah.
And we've talked about this before. A lot of people like you and I were both into hockey.
Yep.
And unless you understand the rules of hockey,
right?
Like, why do they got to bring it all the way back? And why do they got to drop the puck, in that circle? Why do they got to put it there? And it's all, it's knowing the rules.
Yeah.
And it makes a world of difference. Same in soccer. I can watch
soccer. I still
game.
Don't get. And I have no desire to get it. Honestly, I have no desire to learn soccer. I'm too old for that. It's great for the kids, gets them to run around and all that. I get it. I don't understand a single rule in soccer. It's okay.
Another one I've watched a little bit is cricket, and I don't understand that very much either. No.
It's like baseball, but hitting the ball off the ground, right? Or something.
No, maybe not. Well, yeah, cricket I've watched a little bit. And then what's the other one where they kind of like have the cup or whatever that's like curved and they put a ball in it and they toss it?
In like a gigantic, like enclosed space.
Not highlight.
Not
highlight, but there's also a game where you try to get it in the net too.
Lacrosse.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Lacrosse. Out on a big open field, like a football field. That's lacrosse, it's interesting. Colleges, it's huge in college. I've seen it played. I don't really get the whole thing, but I understand. Yeah. Boy, I can't believe you like cricket. That's I
didn't say I liked it. I said I still don't get the rules because I'll sit there. There's a lot of sports I'll sit there, like probably you with racing. I'll sit there and watch 10 minutes, 15 minutes of it.
Right.
Go, okay, I don't know what they're doing, but that was interesting.
Right. Exactly.
I never get with soccer. I mean, the game ends and they still play for another 10 to 12 minutes and you don't know when the game's going to be over. You're going, see, the game's going to be over.
I know, right. See, that's me. I'm there. I know so little about soccer that it's like, I'm watching the game and it's like, is this going to end? Is there are we just going to keep playing? And I don't know. I don't care.
The time ends. The time ends, and they continue to play.
Clueless. Now, how many? And I've got a second question coming. You've been to big NASCAR races, right? Have you been to Daytona? Yeah,
I've been to Daytona several times.
A bunch. Okay, cool. So I'm guessing that it's a lot better when you're there live. I'm guessing it's a lot more interesting and
it's more interesting. Oh, great. I think the guy that's going to fix our washer, not our washer, but our dishwasher, is now ringing the doorbell, and my wife is trying to maneuver 2 dogs to put them away, and then she's going to come by here, and she will open the door, and you will hear them talking, and she'll lead him into the dishwasher.
Okay.
What a lovely day we're having here on the podcast.
Do you want to continue, or shall we pause?
Maybe we should pause, because I think it's about to get rowdy here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the BJ and Bill podcast will return in a moment. And just like that, we are back. And nobody ever saw the mayhem that went on in BJ's house there for a while. It was awesome.
Oh, we're babysitting my daughter's dog.
Right.
And we had this guy come to work on our dishwasher.
Right.
I'm sitting in a chair with rollers. It's like a desk chair with rollers.
Sure.
So my wife hands me the dog, so I can hold on to the dog while the man comes in. Well, I forgot I was on rollers, so I go flying across the room.
Dog powered.
So I took the dog to the backyard, and then the guy was here for like a minute or two and left, and he has to order a part.
Of course.
So it was kind of like, hi, how you doing?
Yeah.
Now I can leave after the mayhem.
I'm glad it's all straightened out. It was
exciting. I bet my little heart's going pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter.
Well, your heart needs the workout because, you're on your second one, so you might as well keep it in shape. So there you go.
Yeah, no
good
kidding.
for you.
I got in shape today, let me tell you.
All right, good.
So I think we finished our conversation. If you don't know the rules to a sport, you're really lost.
And you don't enjoy it as much. You don't.
Right.
It's hard to enjoy if you don't know the rules they're playing by, which is like everything else in life. So I get it. Yes, you're right. So yeah, we're kind of on with that. So what else? What else is going on?
We're going to stay with sports.
Okay, I'm listening.
Because I was watching ESPN over the weekend. Not when I was watching a race, because I watched 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I watched 4 races over the weekend.
Wow.
They were all NASCAR.
Of course.
But before the NASCAR race, or the races on Saturday, I saw something very interesting. Pickleball on ESPN. Now,
yay.
Here in my neighborhood, they're all seniors.
Yes.
You basically play with mostly seniors.
Yes.
When you watch it on ESPN, these are not seniors.
These are young kids who were tennis players once, or
most
or
of
something.
them were tennis players.
Most of them were tennis players, and they have reflexes like a cat on caffeine. Yes, and they hit the ball really hard.
Now, I've also noticed because I know nothing about pickleball, you say it's a smaller court.
Yes.
But it looks like it's almost set up like a regular tennis court. At least the ones they were using.
If you take a tennis, just to answer that, it's about a tennis court shrunk by half. So yeah, it's almost the same. The net is lower, the court is smaller. Yes, but it looks like a tiny tennis court. Yes.
And so I got a question for you. You have the front end, between the net, and
yes.
There's like a rectangle there.
7 feet back.
A long rectangle.
Yep.
And then behind that, you have 2 squares where the 2 people stand if you're doing doubles.
That is correct.
My question will be, unless it is hit in the big rectangle in the front, do you have to stay in those 2 squares?
No. So the front big rectangle, Mr. Odom, it has 2 names. Technically, it is the no volley zone, no volley, which if you're in tennis, if you're a tennis player, or if you've watched tennis, you'll watch the stars, Serena Williams comes running right up to the net. I mean, her belly button can be right against the net, and the ball is coming at her, and she just bangs the heck out of it, or just touches it and it falls and dribbles. In pickleball, that no volley zone, which is a 7-foot square 7-foot rectangle, is also called, and I don't know why, the kitchen. And you have to stay out of the kitchen now. You want the real rule? I mean, I can do it in 2 seconds. You can't be standing in the kitchen and hit a volley, which means out of the air. So if the ball bounces in the kitchen first, you can step in and hit it back, but you can't run. So the whole idea here is to prevent tennis players or anybody for that matter from running right up to the net and hitting the ball out of the air. So it makes the game a lot more equal for players of all sizes and speeds and all of that. So it's awesome. It really makes it interesting so you have to kind of watch your feet, because if I hit the ball and step into the kitchen out of the air, that's a fault on me and I lose the point and blah, blah, blah. You understand. So it's super interesting.
They mostly stayed in their little rectangles.
Yes.
Their little squares.
But there's no rule about that. And I've seen if two players are playing and one has a good backhand and one has a bad backhand or something, there's nothing that says I can't step over into your box and hit the ball. There's no rule about that at all. So yeah. And that's a good way. What's that?
At one time, one of the players was on the other side. The ball was hit to the other player, but it would have been out of bounds, and he didn't get out of the way in time, so it hit his paddle by accident, is what they said. They said he had nothing to do there. It just hit his paddle. And, they lost a point. I don't know what, but it was like, that's funny. You can't get the paddle's so big, you can't get it out of the way in time. Come on, buddy.
Well, and again, the ball has, yes, there's not a lot of interesting rules. The rules are very much like tennis, but smaller and a little bit, because the ball is like a wiffle ball. Remember when we were kids, we had those plastic wiffle balls? It's a lot like that. It's a little bit smaller and a little bit harder, a little bit more. It's got more meat to it, but it's just a plastic ball with holes in it, and you whack it around, and they come and go. But I'm glad they put it. I mean, I'm sort of glad, I'm sort of not, because it's almost like this is a sport that could easily be taken over by the young kids and ruined for us old slow guys like me. So now I will tell you, I do play on Thursday mornings with the senior group. Whatever. And we just out for having fun. It's just 6 or 8 of us, we play and we take turns, and whoever wants to play plays, and whoever wants to sit, we bring lawn chairs. That's Thursday morning. It's easy. And then, so I played Thursday morning. This is a week ago, or, last Thursday. And then one of the people who was there saying, oh, there's a club in town, an old tennis club that is turning some of their tennis courts into pickleball courts because they recognize there's money to be made. And they have a mixer on Thursday nights, and it's great fun, and they bring snacks, and it costs a few bucks, but come on out. So I did. So I ended up playing Thursday morning, which is fine. It's old folks, come home and you're fine. You don't even break a sweat. And then Thursday night, I played for like 2.5 hours, and they were serious players. I mean, not super great. They kind of paired us off into like whatever. And I got home Thursday night, and I'm like, okay, hot shower, not too bad. A little bit of, what is that? Vicks Vapor Rub or whatever that is on the back and everything. And Friday morning was like, OMG, I can't get out of bed. It hurt so much. So there was a handful of ibuprofen in the morning. There was a handful of ibuprofen in the afternoon. There was, the rub-ons, the light, whatever, the spray. Icy hot. Thank you, Shaq. Icy hot spray. And it was awful. So
now here's what's interesting, which what I saw on ESPN too.
What's that?
I've had 2 tournaments so far in this, whatever this league is or whatever.
Pickleball, yep.
And the first one in Punta Gorda. We are Florida boys. Punta Gorda is right above Fort Myers, where we worked together for almost 15 years.
Yes.
And then the one that they were showing was in Daytona. Now, I don't know where the tournament goes next, but it must be a Florida, circuit. Well, maybe not.
And Naples has a really, really big I mean, they built a monster facility in Naples, I think specifically for championships and stuff like that. So yeah, and the one in Daytona is called Pictona, like pickleball in Daytona. Pictona, clever, huh? I know. So yeah, and it's catching on. It really is. And a lot like this club that I play at, this tennis club in Gainesville it's an OG pool and tennis club. I mean, it was probably 50 years old. Really nice pool that they keep nicely, outdoor pool. And it's just in the neighborhood, for $25 a month, you can join and bring your kids in the summer and, blah, blah, blah. And then they had tennis courts, like they had 20 tennis courts. And they figured out, they're like, oh, wait, look, those tennis courts are empty, but those 3 pickleball courts that we have, those are full of people. Maybe we'll turn a few more tennis courts into pickleball, and which they are slowly kind of making the transition. They'll always, I'm sure, have a few tennis courts, but pickleball's where the money is at. So,
and I will say this for what I saw, and, as they would talk about the players,
right,
at least, on the ESPN circuit or whatever, it did seem like most of them, and I hate to say this, and maybe this is where that pickle boat came in, but they would almost talk like, well, they were in the tennis league, but they weren't elites.
Right.
And so they had made the transition. So it does sound like pretty much the losers in tennis has moved on to pickleball. I took that from the little bits that I heard on Saturday when I was watching this on television.
I think at the pro level, I think you're probably right. I think because the game's it's similar. It's very similar. But for us civilians, us old folks, us whatever to play, that's the beauty of the game. You can play it no matter what skill level. I mean, you can play tennis, but you're not going to enjoy it. If you're bad at tennis, until you get reasonable, you're just not going to enjoy it. It's like hit the ball and run and go pick it up. Hit the ball, go pick it up. Hit the ball, go pick it up. On a pickleball court, the court is so much smaller that it's not a lot of running. You can move quickly, and yes, reflexes are big. So it's great, I think, for us old folks who want to keep our reflexes pretty good and keep a little bit of movement, but not like wear yourself out trying to run after a tennis ball. And for those who had like knee problems and stuff, there you go.
It reminded me of a giant tennis table. Yeah, I mean, not tennis, but a giant
ping pong table.
Ping pong table.
Yeah.
But you're standing on the ping pong table. That's what it looked like to me as I watched it.
Yeah, it does fit right in between. Not if, size wise, it looks like that. You're right. And it sounds like it too, because the pickleball, when it hits, I mean, a tennis ball doesn't make much of a noise when it hits the ground. It has that nice little, fuzzy sound. A pickleball makes that clack of a sound when you hit it or when it bounces, and you'll never not hear walking up to a pickleball. Like when I went Thursday night, they were already playing on 3 or 4 courts, and it was loud. It was, and I'm like, boy, I wouldn't want to live like right over the fence from those guys. But anyway, yes, you're right.
As we speak of sports in 55 plus communities.
Yes.
We're talking about the professional league, which they are definitely under 55 in that league.
Yes, they are.
But I'll tell you, I'm thinking about getting into the sport that seems to be probably second popular. Back in the old days, remember when your parents would move to Florida, or you would think of the retirement communities in Florida?
Let me guess.
You would think shuffleboard.
I knew it.
Shuffleboard seems to be history. You don't see, like, in our this neighborhood we're in now, the neighborhood we were in before was 55 plus communities.
Right.
No shuffleboard courts.
None.
But
I
think I have found my sport.
Uh-oh.
And I'm thinking about getting involved, not in pickleball, but cornhole.
Cornhole.
That seems to be, I think pickleball is the biggest.
Yes.
But cornhole is the second biggest in the community where we are. It seems like, hey, let's have a cornhole tournament.
Awesome. And let's face it, because half the time you're either standing around watching the other guy throw the little beanbag, or you could even be sitting, and that's a good excuse. It's like bowling. It's a good excuse for drinking beer. It's a good excuse for drinking, period. Whatever your preference is.
And I've noticed when we drive around the neighborhood,
there
are quite a few people you will see out in their driveway playing cornhole. So it is, like they got their own little cornhole setup.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take it out and put, you can take it down, put it in your garage, obviously, when you're done playing.
Sure.
But I'll notice every time we leave the community, I'll usually, if they're not out there playing, sometimes you'll see the cornhole, I guess, but I don't know what you call it.
I don't either.
Or whatever, but you see it, or you'll see like 4 people out there playing. And I said, that's going to be my next sport. We need to go out. But I told my wife, we need to go out and buy the court or the setups or whatever.
Yeah.
So we can practice a little before we go down there and look like complete idiots.
I like it. I think that's a great idea. I think it's a great idea for you. And, it's basically like a beanbag toss, right? It's a beanbag toss.
It's horseshoes with beanbags.
It's horseshoes with beanbags. Right. Nobody's getting hurt. Well, I shouldn't say nobody's getting hurt. I imagine if somebody wings a beanbag at you, it could be. But still, yes. So good for you. Good for you. Can you even buy that? You must be able to.
You can go to, like a sporting goods shop or.
Yeah.
You probably can even go to, I bet you can order it off of Amazon. You could probably get it at Walmart,
right?
Target.
Right.
I went down, if you went to the sporting goods area, you could find the pickleball.
You bet. All right. So while we're chatting, of course, I had to go to our friends.
Tell me what it's called when you find it here.
Well, it's on Amazon. All right. So let me go over to Amazon here. $59. $59 for the Go Sports football cornhole set. Why is it football? I don't know why it's football. Oh, customized with team decals, includes 2 boards, 8 beanbags, and a carrying case. $59. Look at that. Perfect. You're all set. $59.
But that's with like a football team on it?
Well, I see. If you go to Amazon, and again, it's Go Sports, all one word. You can get them with an American flag or stripes or, wood stuff, rustic, craftsman, American flag. Yeah. So
I think what I want, if I go out and find one.
Yeah.
I want one with a clown, and the mouth is where you want to throw the ball. Like,
I love that.
When you get a hole in the one with the clown, you get a free game.
I love that.
I want one with the clown on it.
That's perfect. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So anyway, yes, they are out there, and you could, there you go. And then they just, the little feet on the little, I don't know, what do you call the board? I have no idea what you call that board.
That's what I said. I don't know what you call the board. I guess it's a
cornhole board. And they fold up, complete cornhole set, tailgate size, 3 foot by 2 foot cornhole boards with 8 all-weather beanbags, carrying case, and rules page. There you go.
You need to have rules too. I didn't know there was rules in cornhole.
Well, the rules are you throw the beanbag and it goes in the hole, and good for you. So anyway, there's your cornhole supply. So go for it, BJ Odom. I want to hear how that goes. We'll need pictures, of course. You could post some of those. I should post some of my pickleball pictures on.
Yes, you should on our website.
Now that I thought of that.
No, we don't really have a website, but we have a Facebook page, which is BJ and Bill Podcast
on Facebook. And also, and good for a good time to mention that, because we're coming up on our break time, BJ and Bill Podcast at gmail.com if you'd like to get in touch, and Facebook page by the same name, BJ and Bill Podcast. Just do a search there on Facebook and you'll find us. So, and
of course you can listen to this fine podcast on wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.
Wherever you get your podcasts. That's exactly right.
We are everywhere anymore, man. We are smoking, Bill Stevens.
I get us. I mean, you and I both have iPhones, so I subscribe, of course, to the BJ and Bill Podcast on my iPhone podcast app. But yes, I know we are also on Spotify, and we're right there with Joe Rogan. Rogan's on Spotify. We're on Spotify. That's all I'm saying.
He might have like an extra listener or two than we have.
A couple.
But hey, we're right there with him.
We're
on the same page, damn it.
Perfect. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, go refill your beverage of choice. My coffee is in need of refilling, and we will be right back. Welcome back to the BJ and Bill podcast. I'm Bill Stevens. That's BJ Odom. Like we said, if you want to look us up and post your pictures of pickleball or cornhole or whatever, go find us on Facebook. Just do a quick search for BJ and Bill podcast, and you will find us there. Awesome.
It's
In a fast-paced world, every day brings new challenges and new opportunities. At Strayer University, we know a thing or two about getting and staying ahead of change. For over 130 years, we've been providing students like you with innovative tools, customized support, and an education built to empower you, so you can find your way forward and always keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
funny, cornhole has been around for a while now.
Right.
But when it first started, I'm a country boy. And when somebody said cornhole to me the first time, I got very nervous. That's all I'm saying. As a farm boy, that's not, that I don't know how they came up with that name.
Right.
But believe me, they never knew a farm boy when they named it what they named it. Because it's got a whole new meaning to some of us farm boys.
I'm pretty sure I don't want to know anymore, but I already smell what the Rock is cooking here. I'm getting it for sure. I really am. So
now that would not be a game that I wanted to play when I first heard about it. I'm not coming over to your house to play that. It's not happening.
Exactly so. So folks, it's a real thing. It's like I do that when I talk about pickleball too. Sometimes I find people are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, go look it up on YouTube. There's only 20 million videos on pickleball on YouTube, probably cornhole too, for that matter.
Well, I'm thinking though, if I never lived in a 55 plus community,
right,
and I was just in a regular neighborhood with all age people, probably if you'd have said pickleball, I would have went like deer in headlights. What?
Yeah.
I just, maybe by now I would have heard of it, but I had no idea what it was. Didn't know what it was, where it was. So
I remember when I was introduced to it, I was living in Clearwater at the time, right up the road or down the road from me now.
Well, that's been a while then.
10 years. Well, maybe not 10 years, but 7 or 8 for sure. And a good old friend of mine who had discovered it, and they were playing it at an indoor gym in Clearwater at one of the Parks and Rec gyms there. And I walked in and I'm like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. What are you talking about? We're just swatting this little ball around and on these basketball courts. But they had stripes. Somebody had come along and put tape down to mark anyway, long story, but it was interesting and it was fun. And I fell in love with it right away because again, I'm an older person and I'm not running around for a tennis ball. So I thought, okay, cool. And I've loved it ever since. So there you go. What else?
Really not a whole lot. We're just unpacking here. I mean, I don't want to promise, but I think maybe by the end of the month or maybe the first week in March,
right,
we may be able to put our car in the garage.
What is in there? Is it just boxes now? It's just boxes of stuff.
Now, I will say,
okay,
the boxes, went all the way almost up to the ceiling. Now the boxes, well, we did finally get the golf cart in, so that was good.
Okay.
Golf cart in the garage, and the boxes have come down to maybe maybe one box or another box on top of it.
Right.
And they're kind of spread out. They're not all in one big chunk right now.
So what do you do? Just every day you go out and pull a box inside and find hiding spots for everything that's in it?
Yeah. And like I said, so I'm again, I might be talking out of place, but I'm thinking very, very, maybe by episode 3, season 2, we'll be able to have a car in the garage.
You're talking 3 weeks.
Well, I want to give it. I just want to give it a little bit of time. I don't want to make promises I can't deliver on.
See, that's the difference, ladies and gentlemen. That's the difference between BJ Odom. Well, of course, you have a spouse and a house and stuff and all. I think I was unpacked in this apartment in an hour or two. I mean, I still have some, of those big tubs that you buy at Lowe's or whatever that have stuff in them that I'm not unpacking, just computer parts and stuff like that. So there's some stuck in one closet and all of that. But other than that, I mean, yeah, you and I live very different lives, BJ Odom, very different lives. But I understand you have
I think our lives would be more similar if I was like you and single.
I heard that coming. Yes.
But I enjoy my life the way it is. Even
As
though
well
sometimes when I look at all this stuff and go, oh my God, what I don't want to start cussing here on our podcast, but as my famous brother, my famous words of my brother, let's just say that.
Right.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Both the best and the worst thing you can say. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
But see, here's the thing that I don't understand. And I'm not, neither one of us are anywhere near leaving this world. But when you leave this world, somebody's going to have to handle all that stuff. Because that's what happened with my mother. I was it. When my mother passed, yours truly was it. And thank gosh that she and I had done all the power of attorney things and all the legal stuff that we needed to do so that I owned the house and I, could sign for things and all of that. But at the same time, while that was good, I mean, there was the downside was it's all my stuff now. And what am I going to do it? And there's no amount of garage sales. There's no amount of giving it away to Salvation Army. It was just a house full of a lifetime of stuff. And I spent a week going through things like pictures and jewelry and knickknacks. And I kept 2%. Maybe not even that, maybe 1%. And 99% of things that I'm sure my mother would have been, oh my God, you can't throw it away. That's belonged to so-and-so and so. I have no clue. And so here I am asking you, BJ Odom. I mean, thankfully you have a son and a daughter and you have, kids who are.
Yeah, I have two of them that can take what they want.
Right.
And I still bet there'll be about 2% that they take.
Right. That's my point. That's my whole point. And that's my point to all of us. Well, I don't know what arrangements our audience members and our friends have made, but I hope you're thinking about that sort of thing. I hope you're giving some thought to what are you leaving? I mean, physically, the stuff that you're leaving behind to your kids and your family and all of that when you go. Because, I mean, none of us is getting any younger. It's going to happen someday.
But, when you talk about this, I know other families, even in my own immediate kind of like family and cousins and things like that. It's not like I'm the single, this is the single household that's going to be a problem.
Oh, no, absolutely.
It's all over.
That's my point. I mean, I think that's my point. I don't know that I have a point, but yeah, not everybody, a big percentage of people live the way you do. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying there's some, like you're not a hoarder or one of those things where, you got stuff packed up to the ceiling, but you have a lot of stuff and that's fine. But everybody, millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people have a lot of stuff.
And they should think about that.
All of that
as they get older, they should think about that.
Exactly.
But like I said, I would probably, the kids would know they could come in and take anything they wanted. They'd probably walk around the house and they could probably maybe they would fill their trunk, maybe not, and they would be done.
Exactly.
And there's a big old semi load that has to go somewhere else.
And it's probably to the junkyard. It's probably to the landfill. When I was, long after my mother had, not long, but after my mother had gone and I was cleaning out the house. I mean, literally, the real estate agent in Cleveland that I dealt with moved mountains, and God bless him. He was the real estate agent my parents had dealt with for like 4 houses that my father went through after he retired. So he was a saint and could move mountains. And I'm like telling him I've got to clean this stuff out. And he's like, I got a guy for that. He had a guy for everything. And literally the next day I had a commercial 30-yard dumpster, which is like the back of a semi truck, dumpster size, in the driveway. And we filled it in a matter of days with stuff. And it put a decent sized dent in the house, but not a big dent.
So well, remember back when we were doing the podcast talking about the move, we not only filled the truck, but they had to go get
another truck.
Well, a wagon or a trailer, but it was like a truck.
And it's just the two of you in a not really big house.
Next subject, before my wife comes in and I'm a dead man walking.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Moving along. That's awesome.
Now, that's good. Now, I will say this, and I don't know if my wife will be mad at me or not when I tell this story.
Uh-oh.
But she has been, she's like she likes to hang things on the wall. You know, she's got all these little knickknacks and everything. And so she's slowly placing them, and she's starting to put pictures on the wall. So, you know, she's put those little things, I don't even know what they're called. That's how manly I am. Where you put a hole and then the thing goes in the hole, the anchor. Yes. And then you put the screw in, and then, you line it up and you hang the picture.
Yes.
So my wife is in the process of doing all of this now. And I says, man, you are such a man. You should be a lot more horny than you are.
Nice try, BJ Odom. How's that working for you?
It didn't work very well, but I thought it was funny at the time, and I think it's funny now. But I go, man, it is. You're the man. I go, you should be much more wanting to just get me in that bedroom every second of the day, but you don't. What's wrong?
So of the two of you, your wife has the testosterone in the family.
Oh yeah, Well, she has the makings, but I don't think she has any either.
No, I don't know. She doesn't. Not the actual, but she's the way by the way she's acting and working around the house and all that. Well, good for her. Somebody's got to do it, because we know you ain't doing it.
Yep.
So there you go. All right, fine. That's good.
But again, when we made the move,
yes,
I told her, I said, don't expect me to do a whole lot. If you want to move, we'll move. But you got to pack, you got to unpack, you got to get this. The only thing, and I'm going, hopefully this will be our forever house, because even our last house, I was still, had to patch all the holes, had to, do the paint job. And, you know how manly I am.
Not at all.
It was a slock job. So, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't doubt those people moved into the house and go, what the hell happened in here? Dang, oh my.
Looks like somebody took a shotgun to it.
Dots all over the daggone wall.
There you go. Well, it's going to have to be painted. The forever house. You see that on, I've spent a little bit of time now and then. This is kind of a change of subject, but it's a good segue. I've spent a lot of time on a couple of dating sites lately, and you see that a lot. That the ladies are looking for their forever, or their last date, or their last guy, or the forever guy, or whatever. And I'm like, good luck with that. I mean, I know the way relationships work nowadays. Good luck with that. So,
I think, I don't know. I would not want to be in the dating scene. I see what you go through a little bit.
Right.
But the one I really see is my daughter.
Right.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. Now, because if I was that age, and it's like, I'm sorry, but it seems like no one's looking for love.
Are they looking for something? Is your inference they're looking for something else other than love?
Let's just say the guys are, it seems to
be. Yeah. And I think
And there's some of the women, I think, too, because, like she will say some of the comments and then, well, I'm not going out with him. Not when he writes this kind of trash, about what we're going to do. Or, she goes, he's gone and like that. And I'm going, that'd probably be me. If that was me, I'd probably be asking.
And I think it's harder. I'm not sure because I don't play one on TV. I'm not a lady. I think it's harder for the ladies on the dating sites because they're probably getting a lot more attention, a lot more, because ladies can be picky. If I send out 4 or 5, hi, how are you messages in the course of a week or a day or whatever, I won't hear. I'm not surprised if I don't hear back from any of them. But I'm betting for the ladies that they probably get a lot of unsolicited incoming messages, and then they have to kind of sort and sift and like, oh, this guy's a jerk. Oh, this guy could be nice, or this one's cute, or whatever. I don't know that. I'm just guessing. But I have talked to a couple of ladies who are also doing the dating site thing, and that sounds like what goes on. So I think for a guy, for me, I'm recognizing that it's just, and I hate to put it this way because it's impersonal, but it's kind of just a numbers game. Just keep throwing bait in the water and see what happens. But you also have to have like a kind of a thick skin to say, if you don't hear anything back from anybody, even though you wrote a nice note and, hey, you gave them some, you were a little bit vulnerable and you opened yourself up or whatever. If you don't hear anything back, don't take it personal. Don't get angry. That's just the way the dating thing works nowadays. So it sucks.
Do hear many.
I was just going to say one last thing. It's one last thing, which is a ripoff of what I think it was Winston Churchill said about government. He says, democracy is the worst kind of government there is, except for all the others. So dating sites are the worst way to meet people, except for all the others. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
And now I will say this, my daughter, and I don't know if that helps or hurts her. She doesn't want anybody to know where she lives for at least 3 to 5 dates minimum. Like she
that's
wants
that's probably safe. That's probably a good thing. Yes.
And I hate to bring her life into, my podcast, but she'd met a gentleman.
Right.
She thought he was okay. And he said, and the second date, he wanted to come by and pick her up because then we'll decide what we're doing.
Oh.
And she said, well, I don't let people pick me up in a car when I've only met them once. And so, no, I'm not going to do that. And of course, she immediately got a response. Well, I guess this isn't going to work out then, is it? And he was poof, gone.
Right. I think that's a really smart thing for your daughter to do and for any lady to do. I think that's you just got to be mindful of those things today, that there can be some weird folks out there. And B, if a guy reacts that way, you didn't want him anyway.
Yeah.
He wasn't the right guy anyway.
That's what she said too. She goes, well,
that's fine. That's fine. And yeah, so I understand that. I do. And some of the people I've communicated with have been like that, and others have. And again, I don't know that. I was going to say maybe it's different for people of my age, of our age, of that more scene. But again, not really. People are people, and a guy who can be weird or creepy at 30 years old can be weird and creepy at 60 years old. So yeah. I don't know what to tell you, except I think it's a good thing being careful is not a bad thing.
And what's said, and I don't know how you can actually work that out, but everybody really wants something different at the end of the day.
Yes.
Either you want a companion, to, as I say, fall in love with.
Right.
And be, a partner to.
Right.
And then, and I'm talking both sexes. And there's some people that just want to meet somebody and have somebody to have dinner with and get to know. And then there's other people that just want to meet and have a good time and That's all there is. What's the old saying? Slam bam thing. Oh,
oh, bless you.
I don't think that was the saying, but slam damn.
Thank you,
yeah,
man.
whatever it was.
Yeah. Thank you, David Bowie, wherever you are. I get that. And I have talked, well, I'll just tell you, there's a lady I'm chatting with right here in Gainesville who's on the side of just looking to have a friend to talk to. And, it's not like she's, some recluse or something, but, she doesn't have a whole lot of friends, and she, we've gotten together for a couple of dinners and had a nice conversation and everything like that. But I don't think there's any interest in anything beyond that. And it just depends. Are you okay with that? Are you not okay with that? Because I get to say, okay, I'm looking for this, this, and this. But yeah, if you go on the dating sites, it's like, what are you looking for? And everybody will list everything, everything from, friendship to marriage and everything in between. So it's like, yeah, okay. But eventually you need to have that conversation, or you should have that conversation. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Well, I think with the dating sites too, a lot of people won't be open to say exactly what they want.
True.
But they all pretty well know what they want in the ending factor, I guess would be the way to say it, before they even, go on the first date. Oh, they're hoping that it's either going to be something forever, or a quick meal and goodbye, or
right.
I think everybody, when they go on those sites, and I could be wrong, they pretty well know what they're looking for.
Sure. I mean, I think they do. I know I do, but you have to start the process at some point, and then eventually, hopefully, you get to a point where you can have a little bit more serious conversation. And there was one lady, down your neighborhood. She was, anyway, it doesn't matter where she was. We had 2 or 3 phone calls, and on like the third phone call, she came right out and said, what are you looking for? What's your plan here? What's your goal? And I'm like, thank you for asking. I really appreciate that. Because you don't want to be talking to somebody and investing a lot of your time and emotional whatever in it, and then find out they're looking for something like your daughter. They find out they're looking for something completely different than what you're looking for. Yeah. And that's both the good part and the bad part of the online dating thing. You can talk to 20 people if you want, and then hopefully find one that narrows things down. So anyway.
Well, Steve Eric had a great, and I forget exactly how it went. He's a comedian friend of mine, and he had the greatest joke in the world. Hey, ladies, just think, when you go out with someone for the first time,
yes,
you're going out with Prince Charming. He's like on his best behavior. He's doing everything right. He's there to impress. And as the dates go on, he becomes a little less Prince Charming as time goes on.
And a little bit more like the frog.
Yeah.
And that's true. Of course, in traditional stuff. Now, see, so the question then is, does the online thing help that or hurt that? Because if all I'm doing is talking to somebody, either with a text message or some, eventually on the dating sites, it starts off with, you're using the dating site's text messaging service back and forth. And that might go 2 or 3 times or more or not or whatever. But eventually I'm going to volunteer, hey, if it would make things easier for you, because I'm not on this dating site every day, if it would make things easier, here's my phone number, just text me directly. And that's the beauty nowadays, since cell phones, in the old days, if you had to give somebody your phone number, well, they could look up your phone number and find out where you live.
Now, my daughter says they can also look up your cell. If you have a cell, they can also.
You said that before. You've said that before, and yeah, you probably could, but not for free. It would probably cost some money to do a search or something. So I don't know that. It probably could. And if somebody really wanted to know, I don't care if you know where I live, but if you're a lady who, like your daughter, wants to be a little more private, then that might be an issue. get a Google Voice number. Just give them your WhatsApp ID, which is not a phone number. It's just an email address or something or just give them an email address. I can text BJ Odom at his email address just as easily as I can text him at his phone number. So anyway, wow, look at this. Dating tips and tricks with BJ and Bill, two old fat white guys who just don't know what the hell they're talking about. But here we are. It's great.
But you know more than I do in a way, because you are doing it.
I am doing it a little bit. Yeah.
And I see my daughter, so I kind of see that world too. But it's I don't know. A lot of people say they have met their forever person, or they're the one on dating sites. And I know my daughter, when she talks to a lot of people that use the dating sites,
right?
They all say the same thing. And I'm not saying their words, but you'll know what I mean. You meet a lot more frogs before you meet a prince.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's why you don't want them to know your address. But she says, they all say, everybody using those days, you're going to meet some crazies out there. They're just out there. Well, they're out there everywhere anyway. I mean,
yes.
They're on the dating sites too, people. Just realize that the crazies are out on the date sites.
And that's the point. Well, not the point, but that's a good point. And that is, there's crazy people in real life. There's crazy people at the mall. There's crazy people online. Great. That doesn't mean that it's a good thing or a bad thing. It just means there's crazy people everywhere. There's good people everywhere. Let's put it that way too. I've talked to some really nice ladies. And, it's like, okay, didn't feel a lot of chemistry there, didn't really pursue anything, but you're a good person. I'm a good person. Congratulations. All good. And I wish you well. And I do that. I honestly do that in every message that I send. Every first message, I will say, here's who I am. Hey, thanks for liking my profile, whatever. If you want to get in touch, feel free to communicate, blah, blah, blah. But then I always say, either way, whether you decide to get in touch with me or not, best wishes on your, search or your journey or your whatever. So I'm trying to put good stuff out there into the world, trying to be helpful with that and all that. So, well, does it work? Well, we'll see. So, yeah.
So what are you looking for, Bill Stevens?
Well,
or can I ask?
You can ask, sure.
Or do you know at this point in time?
Well, do I know? I know what I feel right now. I know what I'm looking for right now, and I'm not looking to get remarried. I enjoy the heck out of my life the way it is, which is my little comfortable 1-bedroom Bill Cave apartment. I enjoy it tremendously. If I want to play pickleball in the morning, I go play pickleball. If I want to go and ride my bike at night, I ride my bike. Great. Now, having said that, I would like also to have somebody in a special somebody in my life to share that with, a big chunk of that with, but not on a living together 24/7 basis. And the interesting thing, just to finish that point, is that I hear that a lot from the ladies too, that they've gotten to a point in their life where they have their house and their dog or their cat and their grandkids and their whatever, and they are living their good life as well. And maybe that's just the vibe I'm putting out, that I'm attracting those ladies to me, or they are attracting me to them, that of the 3 or 4 that I have had conversations with over the past few months, that none of them have been like, oh yeah, looking to get married again. They're not. So again, maybe that's just what I'm putting out and I'm getting it back, law of attraction thing, whatever. So did that answer your question? Yeah. I'm looking for somebody special to share some good times with, some fun, some travel, some adventure, some pickleball, some whatever, and all the other good stuff that come, the friends with benefits things that come along with that, but not
benefits. There's benefits in knowing people. What benefits are we talking about, Bill Stevens? What benefits are we talking about?
Wait, we'll get your wife on the podcast again next week, and we will see if she's familiar with these benefits of which we are talking.
No, I don't
They
think
don't
she's
know that.
familiar with him anymore.
She's not familiar with us. Oh no, I get it.
Now let me ask you this, and I don't know how we're doing on time. We got to be getting close to our
Yeah,
hour.
we're about there, but go ahead.
But now my daughter can go on 1 or 2 dates and say, he's not the one.
Right.
But I think you need to go on more than 1 or 2. Unless, you can meet somebody and they're just like totally
a zero.
Yeah, they're total zero. And right. As soon as you sit down for 5 minutes having coffee, even, this is not the person for me. I just don't see this going anywhere.
Right.
But I think if you're going, I don't think this guy's for me. I think you got to have more than 2 or 3 dates because you got to become, if you're looking for a relationship,
right,
you become friends first, then you want to, and I don't think you can, as they say, if you're looking for love or whatever, I don't think you can magically fall in love in 1 or 2 dates. I think, of course, everybody says love at first sight, but I think it takes time to really get to know someone. And as you get to know them, then the feelings can get stronger the longer you know and the more you learn and the more you're around. Does that make sense to you?
It makes great sense. It really does. And I would say that 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you're right on. You're spot on with that. I think the issue today, and I don't think it's a good thing, but I think this is the way this is what we've gotten to. Like you even told me before we started recording, I told you I was looking at a dating site and you're like, oh, you're back to swiping left, swiping right, whatever. That's all you give somebody nowadays, that we are that we live in a time of instant gratification. And if I meet this guy or if I meet this lady and it's not instant chemistry, instant knock it out of the park, it's like I'm on to the next one because the next one might be better. And I've heard that. I mean, I credit where credit is due. Actually, the lady that I used to live with in Sarasota, she even brought that up. She's like, on to the next, if that's your mindset, if your mindset is, we had an argument last night, maybe I can do better with a different person, rather than sorting it out, figuring it out, communicating with this person to try to build a relationship. You're right on. You're spot on. But I still think that people today are of the mindset that it's like, nope, it's got to be, I got to feel it on the first date or on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. Not a good thing, but it's the way we live. I think. Yep. I think
you're probably right.
I think you're 100% right in your figuring it out. How long, just to put a bow on this, just to finish this, and then we'll be done for the day. How many dates did you and your wife go out on before you thought, oh, this is the one?
Now, I will say, and this was before we were together, I was at another radio station.
Right.
I'll tell you our little story.
Okay.
I really probably, for the end of the podcast, I probably shouldn't give the little story because it'll probably end up being a long story. But I worked at Wink FM.
Right.
She was down staying in her grandparents' condo because she needed a change. And she thought, I wouldn't mind, getting a job, staying here for a while and see how the world treats me. So this guy on Wink FM did a commercial. We're looking for a sales secretary. If you have secretary experiences, call, send, your resume or whatever.
Right.
Well, guess whose voice she heard?
Yours.
I recorded the spot. She heard the voice. She goes, that sounds kind of neat and interesting, working at a radio station. I think I'll apply.
Dorky sounding guy, but the job sounds good.
Yeah. And so she got the job.
Right.
And the first time, because people knew I had gentry and I was in the mood where I wanted to be with somebody.
Right.
I'd been married. I wanted to be married again.
Right.
And so, and most of the people in the office knew it. And it was, like I said, it was not you weren't supposed to date anybody that worked there.
Right.
But some people knew that, some people knew we went out, and there was a couple of girls that I said, yeah, I really think she's cute. And I asked her out, and she was really hesitant to go out with me. And probably like I don't feel the chemistry. No, I don't want to go with this guy.
Right.
But they kind of talked her into, well, give him a chance. Just go out and have some fun with him. So we started dating, and I would say we have a weird relationship because one of our first dates, as I said, I had a 4-year-old son who was really into wrestling. Maybe he was 5 at the time. I can't remember. But one of our first dates, because we took Gentry, was wrestling. We went and saw Hulk Hogan.
Awesome.
She should have known that should have been her cue to get the hell out while the getting was good. But no, we continued. But I would say, I don't know how long it'd been, but I ended up, they wanted to move me to overnights. And I said, I'm leaving the radio station. That's when she decided, well, I'll go with you. And we moved to Naples from Fort Myers. I went to G93 WRGI. And so I don't know how long we'd been dating before we actually moved in together. But I guess, as they say, the rest is history.
And
that's the rest of the story.
Thank you. That's the rest of the story.
And believe me, there's a lot of story in that rest of the story.
But there you go. I mean, so your story kind of makes the point that we were making, that it's like on the first or second or maybe third or fourth time, who the heck knows?
Yeah.
But you have to have 2 people who are willing to put in a little bit more effort. And I don't see a lot of that effort these days. And that maybe that's just my experience. I don't know.
And I will say this too. And, I think my wife has been much more like, I don't know, in our early years of marriage, like something wasn't working out. This ain't working out.
Right.
But she was the one that said, well, marriage isn't easy. You need to work on it. You need to.
Right.
And so she has been that way all the way through. And I think that has really helped us. If we were both had the same mindset many times, we would have probably been long gone from each other. But I think she has the, that kind of mentality. Hey, this ain't supposed to be easy. It ain't easy. We need to work on it.
Awesome. So what a good way to to wrap that up. Good job for you. Congratulations. Mostly to her, because we know she has to put up with you.
With a lot.
Like Goodyear blimp sized a lot. So yeah, good. But that's a great story. And thank you for sharing that. And so yes, people, if that's something and that's a good example for me, is like, maybe I just need to give it some more time or figure out what I want or whatever. I don't know, but good things take time. Good things come to those who wait. Did your mother tell you that? My mother always told me that. I'm like, yeah, hell with that, Mom. Give me the cookie now. Okay.
I think my problem in life was, since, and I've given this story on this show and on our show many times, my parents were told that I would live to see my mid-teens, and here I am in my mid-60s.
Right.
And so when I was younger, a lot of things were like, got to do it now. Got to do it now. Got to do it now, because they're not going to be tomorrow.
Right.
Well, I'm finding out, holy crap, I did all the stuff I'm supposed to do now, and there's tomorrow, and there's been a whole hell of a lot more tomorrows than I ever thought there would be.
And we appreciate
been a much
that.
better young man if I would have known that.
Would have lived a little different life. Well, that's another story for maybe that's episode 2 of season 2. Who knows? But today, a good finish, a good way to finish things. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you folks for listening. We appreciate the heck out of you. If you've got a story, you know where to find us. BJ and Bill podcast at gmail.com, or just search Facebook for the BJ and Bill podcast page. And there you go. Right. Awesome.
And again,
we did it. We did it again. Great job.
I have one quick thing.
What?
Remember last episode we talked about Pitbull?
Yes.
And what kind of music he did? Was it rap? What was it?
Oh, right. That was a big question.
It was reggaeton.
Say again?
Reggaeton or
reggaeton? Like reggae and
Jay. Again, he listens to this podcast every week.
Jay.
Control at thepodcastplayground.com. And so he always has a little snippet. He said, oh, yeah, reggaeton. I think it was reggaeton. Reggaeton.
The guy's a genius. The
guy's going to say, don't you listen to me? I told you. You should have remembered. Jay, I'm old. I don't remember things. But I love that you listen every week, and thank you.
Awesome. Love that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, until we meet again next week with more musical and dating questions answered for you. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Now it's time for BJ to say,
see ya.
In a fast-paced world, every day brings new challenges and new opportunities. At Strayer University, we know a thing or two about getting and staying ahead of change. For over 130 years, we've been providing students like you with innovative tools, customized support, and an education built to empower you, so you can find your way forward and always keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.